Hi, my name's Lucy and I'm one of the team at PTFS Europe. Today for What's on Our Mind, I'm going to be talking to you about the offline tools in Koha. There are 3 different offline tools you can use, and it can be difficult sometimes to work out which one is best for your library service. So I'm going to give an overview of each one and then some tips on what you need to do to set up and prepare those tools so that you're ready if you do have any unexpected downtime. So your offline tools are located in the circulation module. They're listed at the bottom of the screen here. And you have the built-in offline circulation module, which you can enable via system preference. You have a desktop application, which you can download, which installs an icon on your desktop, which you can access. And then there's an add-on to the Firefox browser, which you can use as well. So those are your 3 different tools. So I'm going to go through each one in turn. So the built-in offline tool, as I say, it's enabled by your system preference. So you can search for offline in your system preferences and it should pop up and you can enable it from there. So obviously that's something that you need to do before you do go offline at any point. And the second thing you need to do to prepare if you're going to use this tool is to make a note of this URL. So this is the URL that you would use if you were offline. So you need to have a note of this somewhere, or perhaps bookmark it in your browsers. So for any workstation that maybe is going to be used during an offline period, needs to be able to access this URL. So make a note of that somewhere. And then the final thing is optional, really. It's to synchronize your data. So synchronizing means that you store a local copy of your Koha data. So some details about patrons and circulation transactions are stored locally on the workstation, and you then have access to those while you're working offline. So they're not entirely up to date, but you do at least have some access. So if you scan in an account barcode, a card number, for example, it might tell you if the account's expired or if there's restrictions on the account or that sort of thing. But that is an optional step, and actually it doesn't work for larger Koha systems because the data is stored in your local storage in your browser, and the storage area isn't big enough for lots of data. So quite often it's not possible to use this synchronization function. But you can use this tool regardless of that. So you just record your checkout and check-in transactions as you normally would. So it's quite a familiar interface. And those are stored offline, and then you upload those into Koha once you're back online. So it's a very simple tool to use. And as I say, the synchronization is optional. So if we have a look at, well, next have a look at the desktop application. So if I click on here, this takes us out to GitHub and to the Bywater Solutions pages on there. And you have an exe file that you can download here and install that application. And that will add an icon onto your desktop. I've got mine on my taskbar, and if I just click on that, it opens up the offline tool. So here you've got a slightly different layout to in Koha. You've got an issues tab, and then a returns tab, and a history tab as well. And you just record your transactions in here. And then in the same way as the built-in tool, they're uploaded into Koha afterwards, once you're back online. You can have a local copy of data as well for this tool. So here you can see on the right hand side there is the option to bring up borrower details, etc. It's done slightly differently to the built-in tool with the synchronization. For this offline tool, we need to set up a script on your server which would run regularly and output a file. But you would then need to arrange to grab that file off the Koha server periodically and download that onto local workstations and local PCs. So there is quite a bit of setup involved in doing that. But again, in the same way as the built-in tool, you can use this offline tool without that background file anyway, and just record the transactions as they occur offline. So again, you don't need that background option if you don't want to use it, or if you can't set it up for whatever reason. Your third option then is the Firefox add-in. And again, if I click on here just to show you where it takes you to the Mozilla page, and you can install the extension from there. And once you've done that, if I go across to Firefox, open up a new tab with Firefox, you'll see we have a little Koha icon up here, and we can just click on that and it launches the offline tool. So again, you need to have done this step before you go offline and made sure it's installed in your browser so it's there ready to use if you should need it. Again, it's different layout, but it's the same sort of principle. You've got checkout and check-in options, and then your transactions are all recorded here offline, and then they can be sent up to Koha afterwards. So within this extension, if you right-click on the icon, you have a Manage Extension option, and in here, under Options, you can fill in some details so that the files can be sent back to Koha in order to upload them once you're back online. So you need your Koha URL, the web address, and you can add a branch code if you want, and login details for your account as well. So that's just to set up the Firefox extension. So if we go back to the tools now, that's how you set them up and prepare them. And obviously you do need to do that before you go offline, otherwise you're not going to be able to get to those websites to install those different tools. Once you're back online after a period of offline working, you then come back into the offline section and you upload your files here. And when you get to this stage, the three different options really work in the same way. You're grabbing all the files that you've built up or you've been working online, and those all need to be uploaded into Koha. Once you've uploaded all of those files, you can then go and look at the pending offline transactions and work through them and process them from there. But we will do another video where we cover the detail of actually using the tools and uploading those files. So I hope that's given you an overview of how the three different options work and how you set those up. And I hope that was useful. So thank you for watching.